everyone, it's me, and today I have a great video for you all. It is about artifacts. So here's a guide on artifacts, what they are, how to farm them, and so much more. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. For all you beginners out there, you might have noticed a certain screen on the character page. It is right here under artifacts. They're available for every single character. You might have obtained some artifacts through quests or just farming chests, and sometimes defeating enemies, they give you artifacts as well. Artifacts have 5 different rarities: 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star, which is the best tier of artifacts. There are also 5 pieces. These 5 pieces are the flower, feather, sands, goblet, or circlet. There are more proper titles, but these are usually the nicknames that Genshin players give them. The main use for artifacts are to either boost your damage, increase your healing, HP, defense, and all those other things. There are different stats, and I'd like to do a breakdown of what those stats are. First of all, we have attack and HP. They are kind of self-explanatory. HP just increases your maximum health based on your artifacts and also the level of your characters. The same goes for your attack. This is through the flower and feather. The flower artifact main stat, which is up here in this box, is always going to be HP. No matter what artifact you have, it always has flat HP as the main stat. For the feather, it's similar to the flower, except the main stat is always going to be flat attack. As for the sands, goblet, and circlet, they're all going to be different. For the sands, the possible main stats are HP percentage, attack percentage, defense percentage, elemental mastery, and energy recharge. All of these help to do a different thing. For HP percentage, it just increases your HP. For attack percentage, increases attack. For defense percentage, increases defense. Elemental mastery is the strength of your reactions, which is in a little caption right here if you look on the character screen. For energy recharge, it is just how fast you get your energy and how energy is regained through your elemental skill to charge up your elemental burst. It may sound complicated, but don't worry, you'll get used to it as you play on the game. For the goblet, these are the hardest to farm because they are so specific. You have HP percentage, attack percentage, defense percentage, elemental mastery, and any elemental damage bonuses. For example, a cryo damage bonus or electro damage bonus. As for the circlet, this one can be HP, attack, or defense, all in percentages, elemental mastery, crit rate, and crit damage. Crit damage is the amount of damage if you crit, which is increase your damage for a certain attack. Crit rate is the amount of times you do this damage boosting attack. So you want to have a good ratio of crit rate to crit damage. For example, if you crit for 50% of the time, you want to have a big crit damage of about 100 or so %. If you can't get them right away, that's completely fine because farming for crit rate and crit damage artifacts can be extremely hard, and I still haven't found any good ones just yet. Now here comes the more complicated part, which is the levels. You can increase the main stat every single level it advances. For example, on this one, I can enhance it with some of my lower level artifacts to increase the main level here. It has leveled up and increased the crit rate. For the levels, you want to know that the 1-star artifacts can reach up to level 4, same with the 2-star artifacts. For 3-star artifacts, their maximum level is level 12. For 4-star artifacts, the maximum level is 16, and 5 stars is 20. I will be going over some of the 5-star artifacts because that is the main priority. If you're still a beginner player, don't worry, I'll make sure to cover some of those things too. The next thing you'll notice is the substat, which is underneath the main stat. This cannot be the same as the main stat. The amount of substats depends on the artifact. For level 1 artifacts, you will not have any substats. For 2-star artifacts, you can have from 0 to 1. For 3-star artifacts, you can have 1 to 2. For 4-star artifacts, you can have 2 to 3. And for 5 stars, which are 3 to 4. These are the substats down below if you don't notice them at first. As you can see, this 5-star artifact only has 3 substats than the normal 4. As I mentioned before, you can get this 5-star artifact to level 20, which means you can increase this attack to its highest potential. If you hit the levels 4, 8, 12, 16, or 20 on a 5-star artifact, it will randomly increase one of the substat values. If I took this artifact right here and brought it to level 16, it says right here it will randomly upgrade one bonus attribute, which is one of these substats. So it can either upgrade defense, energy recharge, crit damage, or elemental mastery. It went into crit damage, which means the crit damage for this circlet has been increased. The artifacts with only 3 substats will get another one through its 4th level. If I were to level up this circlet to level 4, I can gain another substat. The substat that was added was attack percentage. As you can see now, through its next ascension, which is going to be level 8, it will randomly upgrade one of these substats. The amount of times a new substat will unlock depends on the rarity of the artifact. For the 5-star artifacts, they can only have up to 4 substats. So if your 5-star artifact only has 3 substats, there's only one time that a bonus attribute or a bonus substat will be added onto it. If you are lucky and you get an artifact with 4 substats that are pretty good, then you can reach those to the highest possible amount. Instead of spending that 4th level into gaining a new stat, you can instead increase a new stat and get a better artifact, which is really good, especially in late game. Farming artifacts is definitely not an easy thing because there is such a randomized chance that you will get the one you want, and you have to farm artifacts with resin. And resin takes extremely long to refill. If you do an artifact domain at adventure rank 45 and above, you can get 1 5-star artifact, or 2 if you're lucky. Sometimes you don't always get the artifacts you want. It might be from the wrong set, or it might have the wrong stats on it, or the wrong piece. There are 2 artifact domains located in Liyue. There are 2 artifact domains in Mondstadt, 1 artifact domain in Dragonspine, and there is 1 in Inazuma. Each artifact domain has a possibility of dropping 2 different types of sets. For example, this one can either drop the Crimson Witch of Flames or the Lava Walkers. People late game want to complete the artifact sets. The set bonuses are mentioned right underneath here. If you're still early game and can't manage to complete a set, that is totally fine, because for early game people, completing the sets isn't always the priority. The thing about artifact sets is that you can have up to 4 pieces of that artifact set, so you don't need to have 5. Some people like to have an off piece. It's usually the goblet because these elemental damage bonuses are extremely hard to get, especially on the right set. So I just want you to keep that one in mind if you're ever farming for a goblet and don't get the right one. On the Crimson Witch of Flames artifact set, if you complete 2 artifacts from the set on 1 character, you will get a pyro damage bonus by 15%. Just like Klee, she has a 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames artifact set. That means this set entirely applies to her. She gets an increase in overload and burning damage and a pyro damage bonus. For Fischl, it's Electro, and so on and so forth. Early game players who want to get their hands on artifacts but don't want to do artifact domains, which I don't think you should do artifact domains if you haven't reached AR 45, because the artifacts that are only 4-star and 3-star aren't really the most helpful, especially in late game. So I don't think you should go ahead and farm those just yet. You might want to wait until you've reached a higher adventure rank. Early game players can wander around the map and open chests. A lot of shrines have great artifacts if you check. Also, some precious chests and luxurious chests also contain some pretty good amounts of artifacts, as well as killing enemies or doing bosses. As for the artifact sets Wanderer's Troop and Gladiator's Finale, you can't get these in domains and you can only get them from boss drops, which is a little bit more difficult to get and it's a little bit more difficult to farm. That's why miHoYo has created a little trade-in system for 5-star artifacts. I don't think you should do it because it's really a waste in your artifacts, unless you have a giant supply of artifacts that you can spare, and if you really want to get that perfect artifact set for Wanderer's Troop, then you could do it. I will probably make a part 2 guide for the lower level players, but this was just a quick recap on what artifacts were, how to use them, and what they did. If you found the video helpful, let me know. If you want to request a video, go ahead. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful day, and it was great seeing you here on the channel. Bye!